about children with disabilities, about developmental disabilities, about social work, about the human service realm. And we're going to start developing a person-centered plan with the mother and son from the video as our focus. What I want you to do, the first steps, and I'm going to write some more challenge questions on the board, but the first step, I want you to list one specific fact that you would incorporate into a person-centered plan. Now, we really haven't talked about person-centered planning, but those of you that have some background knowledge, this is where your resource scavenger hunt is going to come into play. That's why you're impaired. You're going to use the question of the day. As a prospective social worker or an individual within the human service field, develop a person-centered plan for this mother and son. So let's take about 5 seconds, because that's all you should need, because we're just using our background knowledge and what we talked about today to come up with one fact that you would already use in a person-centered plan. So we know that the person-centered plan is going to be around who? The mother and the son. And because the mother and the son have the same disability, their person-centered plan is basically going to be the same. So what's one thing that we have to incorporate based on the definition? What's the definition of person-centered plan?
It focuses on the individual, the person's vision, of what they would like to do in the future.
Okay, so what's one thing that we would have to incorporate in that plan? If you were in a meeting and we were talking about you, and you had a disability, or even if you didn't,
Right.
and you needed a person-centered plan, what's one thing that we need to talk about if it's centered around you?
What I would like to do.
What you would like to do. So what is one fact that we need to have for this particular person-centered plan for the mother and son?
Something they want to see themselves doing in the future.
Right, or a goal. So with that fact of making sure that we are incorporating appropriate goals, we're now going to create follow-up questions or questions that would stem off of our question of the day. This is where your scavenger hunt is going to come into play. Now, you guys already know the definition or the purpose of a person-centered plan. So I want you to take about 10-15 minutes to start gathering resources that would align to this question. Our focus is person-centered planning, and it's also in alignment to the mother and son. We already know that we need to incorporate their goals. So what resources that's out there, whether it's locally or within their personal community, or something that they can utilize off of the web that we could incorporate or use in our person-centered plan. And while you're doing that, I'm going to write some other challenge questions, because I want you to think about future barriers and also the goals for not only the two of them, but for the husband, or if there's a sister, or if there's a grandmother. So as you're getting started, what type of resources, or where are you guys going to first?
So the University of New Hampshire has an Institute of Disability that can give us some information around how to develop it, I guess, and like how to really create questionings around the goals for the family community, and like also giving us information about barriers for those in that same disability as well.
Right, so would you think that as a social worker, would you use the same template or the same type of person-centered planning format, or are there different formats out there based on the needs of?
I think the format, the foundation can be the same, but there'll be different formats because you have one that's a mother who's already an adult, but then you have a son who's still in growing stages. So as he's in his growing stage, we wanna make sure we intentionally strategize for the barriers that he may have as he's growing, but at the same time, what barriers that she has as an adult woman.
And then since they're individuals, it needs to be based on their individual needs, whether they're have the same disability or not. They're still individuals, so the plans can be different.
So with that in mind, where would I go if I was new to the social work field or the human service field? What type of resources, like you have, what resources would you use that I could also use to start that development?
For the mother of the son, both.
For either one.
Right, well, I just went to, this is a, website, it's called pacers.org, and it just deals with, national parent center and transition employment, but it talks about person-centered plans for people in general, and they have a lot of information. It goes to employment, high school, you wanna go to a site that has a lot of different information, not just about one type, like it deals with independent living, employment, school. So with them, the mother's more concerned about employment and where the child probably more centered around school.
Okay. So that's a great start. And since the class period is getting ready to end, what I want us to do is to tomorrow when you guys come back, I want you to have those follow-up questions. Remember, our question of the day is to develop a person-centered plan. And we've already established the fact. So now we're going to start looking at the areas and what specific questions we would ask as we're collaborating together with the family as well as other individuals that they bring to the meeting. Are there any other questions? Or do you guys have any questions? Thank you.